Show. It's Sunday, April 11th, 2021, and we are live. We have a very special guest we're going to bring on here in a few minutes, Kamm Howard of COBRA, to give us an update on what's going on with HR40, House Resolution 40, and talk about a special House Judiciary markup vote that's going to take place this Wednesday, April 14th. All right, so we'll talk some about that, and we know that. Hey, Jalen, do me a favor, put Kamm on hold because I can hear some background noise on his end. Just put him on hold for a minute, please. Okay, so we're going to get an update on what's going on with HR40. What are the next steps? And we'll also talk a little bit about the what happened back February 17th. At the hearing in the House Judiciary Committee, because Kamm Howard testified there. And we want to talk a little bit about Evanston, Illinois, and the reparations program that the city council put together in Evanston that is to address redlining. Now, you know, right here on this show, I interviewed Robin Ruth Simmons, and Robin Ruth Simmons is the 5th Ward Alderwoman of Evanston, Illinois, and she was the one who spearheaded that initiative. Okay, so Kamm Howard was quoted in the Washington Post, an article that dealt with what took place in Evanston. So we want to talk a little bit about that as well. Now, I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, April 9th. You know, I'm a panelist each Friday on the Roland Martin Unfiltered. And one of the things we talked about was CDC Director Rochelle Walensky put out a statement last week calling racism a public health crisis, And we'll talk some about that, because that's similar to what the American Medical Association said back in 2020. American Medical Association back in November of 2020 recognized racism as a public health threat, and CDC director, the new CDC director, Center for Disease Control, Director Rochelle Walensky said a growing body of research shows that centuries of racism in this country has had a profound and negative impact on communities of color. Okay, and she said to build a healthier America for all, we must confront the systems and policies that have resulted in the generational injustice that has given rise to racial and ethnic health inequalities. Now, what's interesting is that Paris Denard, who won't denounce white supremacy and racism, Paris Denard worked for Donald Trump. Now he won't denounce white supremacy and racism. Okay, well, he may work for the Republican Party, but in essence, he's working for Donald Trump, and he's still defending Trump. Paris Denard won't come out and denounce white supremacy and racism, but he came out and denounced Rochelle Walensky's comments, and he did this on Fox News. We talked about that on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Also, you're gonna love that segment. Okay, so we'll deal with that in the second part of the show. And we also have update on the golf tournament as well. Okay. All right. So on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. All right. So we do it a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We do it current events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, the 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, the 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can sign up there as well. And if you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network. $ the AHN Show through Cash App. $ the AHN Show through Cash App, or through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show, or at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. It helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting 6 days a week, etc. Okay, so I've interviewed Kamm Howard before, and I see him from time to time at different conferences. Now, Kamm Howard is a Chicago businessman and real estate investor who is an internationally respected reparations activist. In 2014, Kamm Howard spoke at the 8th Pan-African Conference in Johannesburg, South Africa, on the new paradigm of reparations activism. The new paradigm of reparations activism. In 2016, Kamm Howard was a key organizer for the U.S. visit of the United Nations Working Group of Experts for People of African Descent that proclaimed that the U.S. must engage reparations. Kamm Howard has been a 16-year member of the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America, also known as COBRA. In 2015, as a member of COBRA, Kamm Howard led a team to revise HR40, the federal reparations bill. Kamm Howard has also recently authored a pamphlet called Laying the Foundation for Local Reparations, a guide for providing national symmetry for local reparations efforts. And in June of 2020, Kamm Howard successfully led the work to pass the City of Chicago subcommittee on reparations. So we want to welcome back to the African History Network show, Kamm Howard. Hotep, brother, how you doing tonight?
Hotep, brother Michael. It's a pleasure, brother, to be on your show again. Thank you.
All right, man. All right. Good to talk to you. So I saw you posted on Facebook about HR40. So there's going to be a House Judiciary vote on Wednesday, April 14th. I heard Dr. Greg Carr talk about this also on Roland Martin Unfiltered last week. But HR40 Reparations Judiciary Committee vote, and then there's going to be a forum as well on Wednesday, April 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So first, tell us about this House Judiciary Committee vote. What is this all about?
So sure, this is a historic event. This is the first time this bill has made it this far. As you know, HR40 was first introduced, the first version was first introduced in 1989 by Congressman John Conyers.
Right.
In every congressional session since that time, he reintroduced the bill. In 2017, he accepted a revised version of the bill that the National African American Reparations Commission presented to him. That he then submitted that bill, and that's the bill that was revised in 2017 that is in Congress today. And the difference between the two bills were, the first bill was designed to study whether or not there was continued injury among current living Africans, people of African descent, African Americans, Blacks, however we want to name ourselves.
Right.
Whether or not there was current injury among those of us who was living as a result of slavery and Jim Crow segregation. And then the commission would make recommendations. When we revised the bill, we had said that there was no need to study that component. There was so much scholarly work that's been, since 1989 that proves that there's continued injury, that we're living the effects not only of enslavement and Jim Crow segregation, but also post-Jim Crow crimes. I apologize, brother, for the background noise. I am driving.
Okay.
But anyway, the bill was revised. It's now a remedy bill. And Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee picked it up in 2019.
Right.
She again introduced it in 2021. In 2019, we had one of the first hearings on Juneteenth. I think it was of 2019.
Right. I saw that.
There was a major hearing in the subcommittee. And then there was a second hearing in February, as you announced, of this type of congressional session. And what's important about that is that hearings are designed to get more co-sponsors enough knowledge of the bill in Congress to move it to a vote in the committee.
Okay, let me repeat that sentence again. You were breaking up a little bit, Kamm. Hey, Kamm, you said the co-sponsor is to get enough votes. Repeat that again because you were breaking up. Okay, hold it right there, man. We have to do a quick update on the Masters golf tournament. Go ahead with the update, Jalen.
Are you getting ready for fall or winter? We have the solution for all seasonal clothing needs. Comedicwear.com is the go-to online source for Comedic African fashion and lifestyle products with a contemporary twist. We're committed to offering unique styles reflecting our African heritage. Comedicwear.com is inspired by ComedicScribes.com to influence our people in learning and showing pride. Please visit our website at comedicwear.com.
Gain knowledge in minutes from insightful summaries of progressive and socially conscious books. Blacklisted gives you access to curated content that'll satisfy your curiosity to learn and understand different perspectives. Empower yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. It's easy to read or listen to on the go. Blacklisted. Empower yourself. Start your free trial today.
We all know the cannabis industry is headed toward an uprise in the past decade. What happens when there is a brand that brings this uprise in a blow? The cannabis industry welcomes her uprise. Hustle her hemp. Delivering excellence with pride is her watchword, and how you choose to embrace it makes it a priority. From cultivating rich cannabis into exquisite and tastefully finished CBD products to delivery, Hustle Her Hemp leaves no stone unturned. Hustle Her Hemp's mission is to empower women of color by building business and creating legacies, uniting beauty, health, and business. We are a pure definition of how we want the CBD industry to become in the future. While we are redefining innovation, we bring the same energy to improving the quality of life. Hustle Her Hemp is the new uprise.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know we offer top nationwide high-speed internet service providers, voice over IP, and cellular phone services. Home users, don't miss our current in-stock Chromebook inventory. Please visit us at jcwcc.com or call 215-879-6701.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation WFDF. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, April 11th, 2021. We are live. We just got an update on the golf tournament, and then we went to commercial break. Right before the break, we were speaking with Kamm Howard, National Male Co-Chair of COBRA, and we were talking about HR40 and a historic vote that's going to take place in the House Judiciary Committee on Wednesday, April 14th. And also COBRA is going to have a virtual town hall meeting after that as well to discuss what took place. Let's bring Kamm back on. All right, Kamm, sorry about that, man. We had to we had to do an update on what's going on with the Masters Golf Tournament, then go to commercial break. Okay, so sorry about that. Dude, this is a long way from when I used to be on Blog Talk Radio, man. This is like real radio. So this is real radio, man. This ain't Blog Talk.
But I was just, yeah.
Go ahead.
For sure. So yeah, I was just saying how, you know, that a hearing is designed to educate the congresspersons on the bill, as well as the public, but mostly designed to get more co-sponsors, get more buy-in from their colleagues, so that legislation can go before the full committee for a vote, and then from there to the floor. And so now, after the last hearing, we positioned the bill. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee, who's the sponsor, Congressman Gerald Nadler, who's the chair of the Judiciary Committee. They positioned the bill to go before the full Judiciary Committee for a vote.
Right.
It's called a markup because they debated, they edited, and then they voted up or down. We're certain that we have a number of votes in the Judiciary. The Democrats hold a large majority in the Judiciary Committee. We know this bill will be voted out of committee, which is historic, and then it will go before the full floor of the House for a vote, and then to the Senate. And so, you know, there's been a lot of planning, a lot of strategy.
Well, hold on just a second. Hey, Cam, just a second. You said it goes out of the House, then did you say it goes to the Senate?
Right. So it goes out of the Judiciary Committee. That's what's going to happen on Wednesday.
Right.
On Wednesday. It'll be voted out of Judiciary.
Right.
Then it would go to the full House for a floor vote. That would probably be in June. We're looking to try to schedule it around Juneteenth, first week of July. We still have a lot of votes we need to get. We have 174 co-sponsors. We need 218, a simple majority.
Right, simple majority in the House of Representatives. Right.
Right.
Go ahead.
So we're hopeful. We're optimistic that we can get it passed out of the House. It's tight because the Democrats only hold a slight majority.
Right.
And we know this is a bill that has only been pushed by the Democratic Party at this particular time.
Right.
And so it's going to be tight. Still a lot of work to do. We need our people to, if your congressperson is not signed on, you need to be down in his office. Well, with COVID, you can't really go to his office, but you should have some type of phone system in your community. Calling your congressperson if they're not signed on, if they're Democrat.
Right.
Have to be on this bill.
Well, what they call a congressional switchboard. Let me get a number to the congressional switchboard because I had the number in my phone. I've called before. The number to the congressional switchboard is area code 202. Everybody write this down. 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. That is the congressional switchboard. If you call the congressional switchboard, you can reach any member of the U.S. House of Representatives or the U.S. Senate when you call the congressional switchboard. Okay. Now, usually, and then I'll let you go ahead and comment, Cam, but usually, if you call, you'll get a automated service. It's like an automated menu. It'll ask for your zip code, things like this. Do you want your member of the House or do you want your member of the U.S. Senate? Okay. The last time I called, I got a live person and it scared the hell out of me because I was like, wait a second, is this a congressional switchboard? They said, yes, it is. I said, usually when I call, it's automated. They said, well, we're answering right now. I said, okay. So it scared me. Okay. So just keep that in mind. When you call, don't act a fool. All right. Okay. Don't, I'm just telling you, but you can get your member of the U.S. House of Representatives or U.S. Senate. You'll probably get one of their staffers or something like that. And then you can let them know how you feel about HR40 and how you want them to vote. Go ahead, Cam.
That's exactly right. So, that's really the challenge for us going forward. We're in a historic time. There has not been a bill in both the Senate and the House dealing with reparations since the Reconstruction, the short period from 1865 to 1877. After that, with the rise of the Klan and the rescinding of all of the civil rights bills and legislation that had previously been enacted, we went into a period of Jim Crow. apartheid. But not since that time has this country, both houses of Congress, took a look at this the notion of redress for the crimes this country has committed against our people.
So,
And it's a struggle, you know.
yeah, back up for a minute. Say that again. You said not since Reconstruction has there been this type of here. Say that again.
Yeah, not since Reconstruction has both houses of Congress took upon the notion to debate the issue of redress for our community.
Okay, not since Reconstruction.
They get this bill, right? They get this bill out of the House is extremely historic, and it just goes to what the shift of thought in this country is around the disparities that exist in our community.
Okay, so let me ask you.
For a long time, they
go
were
ahead.
just denying.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, for a long time, they were just denying that enslavement or Jim Crow or anything had any effect on us, on our current living conditions, as if, all the work that we did to lift ourselves up and to create independent institutions and create an economy for ourselves, even being locked out of the economy, all the things that we did to be in the position that we're in today, they think it just happened because our values or something. Now, there's a shift with big data. People are looking at the data, and the data shows that, our conditions are a direct result of the years of atrocities that have been committed against our people in almost every area of life in this country.
Right. So I want to back up for a minute, because for HR40, did you say, now I've talked about this before in understanding, one, contrary to popular belief, a president cannot do an executive order to distribute reparations. That's based upon Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7 of the U.S. Constitution, because Congress controls the power of the purse. The ability to tax and spend is controlled by Congress. So it has to pass the House of Representatives, the U.S. Senate, then be signed into law by a president. Now, it takes 218 votes, a simple majority, to get any bill passed in the House of Representatives. Now, did you say once it passes the House, then it has to pass the Senate? HR 40 has to pass the Senate?
Well, it has a companion bill has to be introduced in the Senate. Now, we have a companion bill.
A companion bill.
Cory Booker introduced our last companion bill. It's called S40. Last congressional session, it was S1083. We were able to get the number 40 for this congressional session. So there's an HR 40 in the House and an S40 in the Senate. And so once it's passed in the House.
Go ahead, finish your thought. Once it passes the House.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, finish your thought.
Once it passes in the House, then the bill then has to be debated in the Senate. And that's where we it's going to be extremely challenging there, because we would need a 60-vote supermajority to need a filibuster.
Okay, so
we know we would get in the Senate.
So let me ask you a question. You have House resolutions, House bills, and House joint resolutions. This is a House resolution. Usually, with a House resolution, it's dealing with procedure in the House of Representatives. That usually doesn't have to be taken up in the Senate. Okay, if it was HB 40, this is not HB 40. This is HR 40. It's a House resolution. If it was HB 40, then that means it has to pass the House, the Senate, and then be signed into law by president. If it's HB 40, that's House bill. This is House resolution.
So you're almost correct. What you have is congressional resolutions,
right,
in the House and in the Senate.
Right.
They don't have to be taken up. There's nothing. There's just resolutions.
Right.
There are in HR is House of Representatives. It's
right.
House resolution. There are for representatives.
Okay, but it's
House Representative Bill 40.
So from my understanding of this and reading it, okay, go ahead, finish your thought.
No, I'm just saying this is an actual bill and not a resolution. If it was a resolution, it would be called Congressional Resolution 40.
Okay.
As opposed to HR 40. Again, the R is for representatives.
Okay. All right. So for HR 40, it has to get 218 votes in the House of Representatives, simple majority. Then it has to get 60 votes, because it has to get 60 votes. Anything other than like judges, you need 60 votes in the Senate. Okay. And that's going to be uphill, because I don't even think there are 40 votes in the Senate to support. I mean, let's look at it like this. There's 48 Democrats plus 2 independents in the Senate. You can, for the American Rescue Plan, the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, you couldn't get a single Republican in the Senate to vote for that. And it would benefit a lot of white Republicans that vote to put the Republicans in the Senate in the first place. So how do we get, I want to get clarification on this. So for HR40, which is to put together a commission to study the impact of slavery and the legacy of slavery, things like that, right? And to do the study, right? That's HR40, correct?
And to develop proposals to
right, and to develop proposals to actually distribute reparations. Like, how do you distribute? What form should it be in? Right, that's all HR40, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so once it passes the House of Representatives with 218 votes, then it has to be debated in the Senate and has to pass the Senate, and then you need 60 votes in the Senate. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It has to make it out of the Judiciary Committee first. So
in the Senate, yeah, Senate Judiciary Committee. Yeah, Senate Judiciary Committee is debated in the Senate.
Out of the Judiciary, then it goes to the floor.
Okay, then it goes to the floor for debate and then a vote. Okay, so similar process in the Senate as you have in the House. Okay, so say we're able to get 60 votes in the Senate. What's the after you get 60 votes in the Senate for it'd be was it S40 in the Senate? What's the bill in the Senate?
That's S40.
S40. Okay, then what's the next step? Does it have to be signed into law by a president?
If it passes the Senate, then it goes to the president's desk for signing. Right.
Okay, but that's not to actually, for just so people understand. I know you understand this. Just so people understand, because I don't want them to look for a check in the mail like they did the stimulus check. It's not to if Biden signs it in the law. If Biden signs it in the law, it's not to pay reparations. It's to do what you just said, to create the commission to study the impact of reparations, slavery, and the legacy of slavery, and to put together the study and to make recommendations on how to distribute reparations, what form it should be in, etc. Right?
Right. So making recommendations is a lower standard. So it is charged to develop actual proposals that then go back to the House and the Senate for funding. So making recommendations and saying, okay, we think you should do this. The proposals as this is what's needed in this area, this area. These agencies must contribute. It must go in this direction. This amount of money must be targeted for it. And there should be proposals in every area of life in which we were damaged that this commission should develop.
Okay.
So it's more than just make recommendations. Mm-hmm.
Right, you're right. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And I'm here at Congress.gov right now, looking at HR40 117th Congress, and it says, just briefly here, so everybody knows, and I'll put this on the screen share. I'll blow this up and put this on the screen share also, and we'll post a link here on the thread of the broadcast so people have the correct information. The bill establishes the commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans. The commission shall examine slavery and discrimination in the colonies and the United States from 1619 to the present and recommend appropriate remedies. The commission shall identify 1, the role of the federal and state governments in supporting the institution of slavery; 2, forms of discrimination in the public and private sectors against freed slaves and their descendants; and 3, lingering negative effects of slavery on living African Americans and society. Okay, so we're going to put this, I'm going to post the link here on the thread of the broadcast so people can actually read it. And there's more information here also. This is from congress.gov. When you want to research bills in Congress, either the House of Representatives or Senate, you can go to congress.gov and you can actually read the bills there. Go ahead, Cam, and I'll go to the next question. Give us some more context on this.
So also I would like for you to go to COBRAonline.org.
Oh yeah.
We have a primer, HR40 primer on our website. Not only is the bill and the primer, but the primer actually is a teaching tool to let you know exactly what the HR40 bill is designed to do, breaks it down.
Okay.
Let you know what some of the possible proposals that will come out of the commission will actually do.
Okay.
So you're absolutely right. The passage of this bill does not put any reparations resource, does not target any reparation resource to our community, whether it's in the form of a check or in the form of student debt relief or business development grants, anything like that. What it's designed to do is create a commission to create a comprehensive plan,
right,
to address all of the injuries that we suffer from as a result of 400 years of atrocities. So it's not a piecemeal thing. It's to develop a comprehensive plan that would probably take trillions of dollars of appropriations over several years to make sure that what comes out of the commission actually does what it's designed to do. But that's what it's determined to do. We will have to go back to Congress for funding for whatever the commission produces.
Right. Okay. Now, up on the screen right now, up on our screen share right now, those on Facebook and YouTube can see this. I have what you posted on Facebook. This is about the Wednesday, April 14th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the virtual HR40 Reparations Judiciary Committee Vote Forum. Okay. And this is going to take place after the vote takes place in the House Judiciary Committee on Wednesday. Tell people about this forum. What's going to take place here? And this is also at COBRAonline.org. Go ahead, Cam.
That's right. So for about the last 9-10 months on a weekly basis, there's a group of about 18 of us who represents various organizations meet weekly to strategize around HR40.
Okay.
In that meeting, about 75% of the times, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee joins that meeting. But we have a judiciary staffer who lead counsel in the Judiciary Committee who's been in every one of those meetings. The National African American Reparations Commission and COBRA, Human Rights Watch, Center for American Progress, ACLU, Council of Churches, Color Change, and there's some other organizations who also have representatives there in that strategy group. And we meet and we strategize and we push the regulation forward. We, put out certain information to educate. We get co-sponsors. We educate the legislators. We, do whatever it takes to get this bill passed. And so after this vote, some of those strategists will be on this webinar to explain exactly what happened for those who did not see the vote, and to analyze it and to actually talk about our strategy going forward. Because this is a long-term process.
Right.
We revised this bill in 2015. Here, 6 years later, it's just getting out of the Judiciary Committee. But we've been fighting this fight since we got here.
Okay, so and you'll have people like Dr. Greg Carr, my friend Dr. Greg Carr. I know Dr. Greg Carr from ASCAC, Association for the Study of Classical African Civilizations, and you'll have my man Dr. Ray Winbush. I've had Dr. Ray Winbush on the show before. Dr. Ron Daniels, I've had him on the show before as well. You'll have Sheila Jackson Lee. Now, so let me ask you a couple questions. I know before I saw you, and I'm going to flip over here to congress.gov and let people see the information here for HR40. We'll try to zoom in on this, but look at people check out HR40 at congress.gov. So I know, I saw you at one of the conferences before. I can't remember whether it's the Black Homeschooling Conference in Atlanta or something. And I was talking to you about Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I was talking to you about the Black Freedmen Indian Treaties of 1866 and how some of the Africans who were enslaved by the Choctaw, Chickasaw Creek, Cherokee, and Seminole Indians were able to get some type of reparations through the Black Freedmen Indian Treaties of 1866. And one of the things I talk about are legal arguments for reparations. So I was trying to find out from you, for instance, like a lot of people don't know that the U.S. Congress outlawed the international transatlantic slave trade March 2nd, 1807. And then that went to effect January 1st, 1808. So, and that's based upon Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1 of the U.S. Constitution. So I was wondering if you all are focusing in on the period of time from January 1st, 1808 to June of 1860 when the Clotilda comes in, because all those Africans that were brought into the country, that was illegal based upon federal law. It was human trafficking. There are court cases of white men being caught and prosecuted for bringing in Africans because it was illegal based upon federal law. So is that like one strategy that you all are focused on or looking at?
So definitely, the modern reparations movement is built on 4 strategic legs.
Okay.
Legislation, whether it's state, federal, local, litigation within the state and federal courts, and even local courts, mobilizing people around, certain issues for repair, and then utilize international norms, laws, and protocols.
Okay.
In spite of the so litigation is definitely one aspect of the struggle. After the 2005 defeat, because it's very expensive, to the reparations lawsuit, we lost the federal district level, but we still appeal, and we just haven't put together enough resources to appeal.
Well,
that's a strong case that we had, and that's a strong case that you're talking about now.
Right.
That it was against the law to engage in trafficking through the slave trade post 1808. And I know there's a brother in New York, I think his name is Issa, who's been pushing that particular litigation piece. But right now, the major litigation...
Oh, I think you're talking about Dr. Jahi Issa? Dr. Jahi Issa? Yeah. I interviewed Dr. Jahi Issa and Brother Reggie Marbury. Yeah, I know them. I've interviewed them. We did a 4-hour interview breaking this down. So, but what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about doing a lawsuit. I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not talking about doing a lawsuit. I'm talking about in your overall argument for reparations and the damage that was done, making that is a legal argument based upon the U.S. Constitution that can be at the foundation of the argument. But I'm not talking about trying to go to court. Okay. However, if you are challenged in court, then your foundational argument is rooted in the U.S. Constitution. But I'm not talking about doing a lawsuit because that's expensive. Okay. So yeah, because see, a lot of people miss that. And see, one of the landmark U.S. Supreme Court cases was in 1841 dealing with the Amistad slave ship. And when you research the Amistad, okay, hold on. I think we got to do a break for the masters. Hold on for a second, Cam. All right. What are we doing, Jalen? We got to do a break for the masters. All my masters are dead, man. What we got a break for? All right. Stand by, everybody. Stand by.
We all know the cannabis industry is headed toward an uprise in the past decade. What happens when there is a brand that brings this uprise in a blow? The cannabis industry welcomes her uprise. Hustle her hemp. Delivering excellence with pride is her watchword, and how you choose to embrace it makes it a priority. From cultivating rich cannabis into exquisite and tastefully finished CBD products to delivery, Hustle Her Hemp leaves no stone unturned. Hustle Her Hemp's mission is to empower women of color by building business and creating legacies, uniting beauty, health, and business. We are a pure definition of how we want the CBD industry to become in the future. While we are redefining innovation, we bring the same energy to improving the quality of life. Hustle Her Hemp is the new Uprise.
Black Bees products are a collection of natural, organic, personal care products with an appreciation of nature and bees. Our philosophy is without bees, we have nothing. We are honoring our Nile Valley ancestors who understood the importance of bees. Black Bees created a high-quality, natural, organic personal care line that would be affordable to everyone. We hope you try and enjoy our Black Bees products line and come back and visit us at blackbeesproducts.com.
With blackbusinesstee.com, the messages are clear and meaningful. Keep your business in the black and out of the red. Mind your black business. Know your numbers and plan strategically. Black Business Boss, lead your industry. Support black business. Encourage, patronize, and uplift one another. BlackBusinessTea.com currently has products sold in Detroit, Atlanta, Chicago, and Los Angeles, with proceeds returned to the black community. They have a wide selection of hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, hats, sweatshirts that support black-owned businesses. Visit the website blackbusinesstee.com. That's blackbusinesstee.com. For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid Al Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com. All right, welcome back to the African History Network show. We had to take a break for, we're talking about reparations, then we had to take a break for masters. So, all right, Cam, I'm sorry about that, man. This is a mandatory break for update on the masters. All right, so we got Cam Howard from COBRA. We're talking about the HR40 vote that's going to take place in the House Judiciary Committee. So right before the break, Cam, we were talking about Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1 of the U.S. Constitution that leads to the international transatlantic slave trade being outlawed. So just so everybody understands, that just means bringing Africans into the country to enslave them. That does not mean slavery within the U.S. was abolished in 1808. You can still own slaves, trade them, things like this. It was just bringing Africans into the country was outlawed. Okay, so I just want to make a clarification. I wasn't talking about filing a lawsuit, Cam. I was just talking about when you all go through and list your reasons for reparations, that I was wondering if that was one of them, because it was illegal from 1808 to 1860. It was illegal to bring Africans into the country, and their court cases to back that up. That's what I was getting at.
Right. So, that's an argument that some are willing to make.
Mm-hmm.
In COBRA, we say that it was all illegal, even though that it was so-called constitutional for whites in this hemisphere to engage in the type of crimes committed against their ancestors. It was not legal under international law. It was just some rules that the white monarchs created amongst themselves.
Right.
White ruling power individuals created amongst themselves. We say it was all criminal. It was criminal when it began in the 1400s with the 15th century edicts from the Pope. And it was criminal, and it remains criminal today because under international law, crimes against humanity, which the Transatlantic Slave Trade Commission, slave trade was, which slavery was, which apartheid, Jim Crow was, are crimes against humanity, and there's no statute of limitations. So they were criminal in the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, and they're still criminal today.
Right. Okay.
And that's our position. We're not going to try to, look at, when you outlawed it, it then became criminal. It was criminal when you were enjoying all of the benefit through the merciless, atrocious acts that you were committing. It was criminal even at that time. Right.
Okay. Lastly, because we're about to run out of time here, in Evanston, Illinois, I've been following what took place in Evanston with the reparations program that the city council passed, and it is dealing with redlining, not slavery. Now, I interviewed Robin Ruth Simmons, Fifth Ward Alderwoman, who spearheaded the initiative, and they had a history of redlining in Evanston. They didn't have a history of slavery. Okay, Illinois did. They abolished slavery in Evanston was founded in 1840, so they didn't have slavery in Evanston, Illinois, but they had redlining in Evanston. But there was an article from the Washington Post that I talked about here on the show. Evanston, Illinois leads the country with first reparations program for Black residents. It's from March 22nd, 2021. You were quoted in the article. I gave you a shout out here on the show. And you said, and Evanston should be considered the prototype because of how the city approached its initiative, said Kamm Howard of the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America. Quote, most other commissions file resolutions and then allocate funds for them, but Evanston set aside the resources up front, end quote. What was your thought on what took place in Evanston, and how does that help reparations when it comes to slavery and the legacy of slavery?
I think, several issues. I was in Evanston in November of 2019 when they voted to first pass the ordinance that would fund their reparations subcommittee. They had already passed the ordinance to create a subcommittee, but then they had to fund it. Now, I was up there and I gave testimony before the city council saying that we applauded them on how they got to this decision. It wasn't acrimonious battle between the Black community and the white community. What they did was systematically, logically, and with reason, looked at the data, looked at the history, and looked at the current conditions, and they made the only logical decision that targeted resources had to go to that segment of their community, because that community had been targeted and harmed for such a long time, not only during redlining, but also with police improprieties or the increased arrests for marijuana arrests with the Black community. And so the only logical conclusion to address that was targeted resources, and targeted resources is reparations. Right,
and let me just interject. The proposal that they got passed was based upon a 77-page study that was done in 2020 that dealt with the negative impact that redlining had on the African American community. Okay, so that's what. So because I printed, I'm reading through the study now. I downloaded the study and printed it up. And so their proposal was based upon the evidence. It was the study that was done. So that's so critical. And they were able to get that accomplished. And they were able to get that done. It was first initiated in 2019. So in 2 years, and they said, Robin Root Simmons said, this is that first $400,000 disbursement. That's just the beginning. It's a $10 million fund. But that's just the beginning. Yeah, that's just the beginning. And she said they also support reparations from the federal government, but this is what they can do at the city level. Right now, this is what they can do at the city level. We got about a minute left here, Cam. But what is the importance of the study that would be part of HR40 passing? You know, the commission and then the study to deal with it. A lot of people say we don't need a study, but I'm like, do you understand how many ignorant people are in the House of Representatives and the Senate that have to vote on reparations? And see, my thing is America needs a massive history lesson, because Americans are very ignorant of history. Talk about that for a second. Yep.
For sure. You know, this country is ahistorical. You don't really learn history in this country. But the key issue here with the study component of HR40 is not to study what happened, but to study how what happens affects us.
Yes.
We need to know exactly how all of the trauma that we experienced over the past affects us today. We need to understand how the redlining, the mass incarceration,
right,
the predatory lending,
right,
other forms of plunder that's taking place in our community for hundreds of
health
years.
disparities.
Yeah,
right.
That's what we need to know.
How does that contribute to the?
We can target resources.
Exactly. Exactly. How does that contribute to the structural inequities that we deal with in all areas today? That's a legacy of slavery, dealing with laws and policies put in place. That's why that study is so important. All right, quickly, what's the website? How can people get in contact with you? What's the website? We're out of time here. Okay.
And COBRAonline.org. Much appreciate you, brother.
And COBRAonline.org. All right, Cam. Talk to y'all later. Peace. Okay. All right, everybody. This is a short show because of the Masters. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, I'm going to keep broadcasting on the African History Network on Facebook and Michael Imhotep on YouTube, Imhotep. We'll be back Monday night. Remember, right now, let's correct wrong behaviors. Not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you Monday. Peace. Stand by. Stand by, everybody. Okay, we're going to keep broadcasting. We had a short show. I think they re-airing the Masters or something. Man, we talking about reparations, and we get interrupted by our Masters or something. But anyway, okay. I'm going to squeeze in this one last story, and then the rest of the stuff, I'm tired. So normally it's 2 hours Sunday night. I don't have enough energy to do 2 hours. But I'm going to squeeze in this last story dealing with the CDC director declaring racism as a public threat, which is correct. So check out this information. Check out we'll post a link here again for in COBRA and the forum that's taking place Wednesday, April 14th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can go to COBRAonline.org. It's an online forum. And they're going to talk about what took place in the House Judiciary Committee earlier that day. So it's very, very important. And if HR40 got to pass the Senate before signing the law, I'm telling you right now, it ain't going to happen in the 117th Congress. I hate to burst your bubble. It's not going to happen in the 117th Congress. Maybe in the 2022 midterm election, you can vote more Republicans out of office and vote more Democrats in the office, so you can get 60 plus, because you need 60 votes to get HR. It's Senate Bill 40 or something like that, whatever the equivalent is in the Senate. You got to get that passed in the Senate. You need 60 votes. That ain't happening right now. It's only 50. It's only 50 Democrats in the Senate, and you're not going to get any Republicans to vote for this. I told you before. Black Tea Party Republican Tim Scott of South Carolina. He's the only African American Republican in the Senate. He already said he's against reparations and is not going to vote for it. So if the black Republican is not going to vote for reparations, then how many white Republicans you think you're going to be able to get to vote for reparations? if the black Republican is not going to vote for reparations, then how many white Republicans do you think you can get to vote for reparations? So that's why voting matters. That's an example of how voting matters. That's why a lot of the people who are blocking the bills and policies that you want enacted, you got to vote them out of office and vote more people in the office who support those bills and policies and laws. Is understanding math. You got to get to at least 60 votes. Okay. And I would say you need 61, 62 because Joe Manchin of West Virginia, okay, conservative Democrat Joe Manchin, I don't see Joe Manchin voting for reparations. Joe Manchin doesn't even support raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. He said raise it to $11 an hour. West Virginia is one of the poorest ass states in the country. He doesn't even support raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Joe Manchin is against even changing the filibuster rule a little bit. So Joe Manchin ain't voting for reparations. So you're gonna need 61, 62 Democrats in the Senate to get reparations passed. It's understanding math. It's understanding policies. And Mitch McConnell, Mitch McConnell's a Republican. No Republicans are going to vote for reparations. No Republicans in the Senate are going to vote for reparations. If they wouldn't vote for the American Rescue Plan, the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, okay, and give $1,400 stimulus checks to allocate over $100 billion to schools so they can enhance ventilation systems and have smaller classrooms and things like this. If they're not going to support that, and that would largely benefit a lot of poor white Republicans that voted for them in the first place, if they wouldn't support that, you think they're going to support a reparations bill and chattel slavery ended 156 years ago? That's not happening. That's not even logical. That's why you have to understand the power of the vote. And this is why I've been dealing with day after day after day what's going on in Georgia. What's going on in Texas? Because the 361 voter restriction bills that are in 47 state legislatures, as of March 24th, 2021, the Brennan Center for Justice is tracking 361 voter restriction bills in 47 state legislatures. That directly impacts our ability to be able to vote more people in the office who support reparations. The problem is most people who talk about reparations and say we want reparations can't logically, realistically tell you how to get it. Because I still have people saying the president could do an executive order to pay reparations. No, that's Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7 of the U.S. Constitution. Congress controls the power of the purse. This is why you have to read the U.S. Constitution. All right. So we have that. We have you've heard me talk about my online class, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. This is the online course that I teach. We deal with thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. I have a new section of the class. We have a new class starting up. It's going to be Saturday, April 17th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saturday, April 17th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. All right. This is an online course that I teach. We deal with thousands of years of history. It's going to be a 9 weeks, 18-hour online course. So to meet 9 consecutive Saturdays, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Some days we may go a little over because I have a lot of information to get through. All right, so we have book references, articles. I do a PowerPoint presentation. It's a lot of information. Okay, so we have a new class starting up Saturday, April 17th, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Class is regularly $130. It's on sale $80. For more information, well, you can visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Okay. And you can register there. Also, you will, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the link to our current class. And what happens is when you register for the current class, I'm just going to automatically enroll you into the new class. Okay. So, because I have one class that's finishing up, we have like one more class to go. That class is on Tuesdays. You can go ahead and register now. When you enroll, you'll be able to watch the sessions that have already happened, but I'm automatically going to put you into the new section that starts up Saturday, April 17th, okay, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we just posted the link here. You can go ahead and register for that. It's regularly $130, on sale $80. We do the classes live. All the classes are archived also. So we do them live. You can join us live in the online class. You can ask questions with the live text, with the text chat. I don't see you, so you don't have to worry about getting dressed up and doing your hair and putting on makeup or whatever. Okay, I don't want to sound sexist, but I mean, you don't have to do all that. Okay, but you can ask questions during class. You can email me after class if you have questions. And then we also have all the sessions are archived. So if you miss any of the class, you can go back and watch it over and over again. And you can watch from around the world. You can watch as much as you want to. Okay. So we do thousands of years of history. So we just posted a link here, and this link that I just posted, this is for the class I teach on Tuesdays, but that class is wrapping up. You can go ahead and register for that. You can watch the content. You can join us in class on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This should be like our last class for Tuesday. We'll see. But I'm automatically going to enroll you in the new section that starts up Saturday. All right. So we just posted the link here. Sharon said, taking the class now. Love it. Okay. Thanks, Sharon. Yeah, we got it's a ton of information. So the last time I taught this class before this Tuesday, the Tuesday class started up in February for Black History Month. The last time I taught the class was in 2019. There's been new discoveries coming out since 2019, new information, and a lot of that, I incorporated some of those new discoveries and things like this into the new class. So normally it was like an 8-week, 16-hour class, but we have to do at least 9 weeks and even then I'm just skimming the surface, but I want to give you like a good foundation, understanding thousands of years of history, ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, and to understand what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Okay. And you have to understand the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors. We can't start studying the transatlantic slave trade in 1441 with the Portuguese going into Mauritania. We can't start in 1619. We can't start with the Papal Bull of 1455, things like this. You got to deal with thousands of years of history. And that pivotal period of time is from 711 AD to 1492, when the Moors go into the Iberian Peninsula, today known as Spain and Portugal, conquer the Vandals and the Visigoths. Okay. Settled in the southern portion of what we call Spain today. They call it Al-Andalus. And the Moors are taking the teachings from ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt into Europe, bringing Europe out of the Dark Ages. They're introducing something that they called alchemy, today we call chemistry. They're introducing all different types of new foods, musical instruments, all different types of things like this. And all that came back to kick us in the behind. All that came back to kick us in the behind. All right. And we're going to see what leads to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. So we posted the link there. And also, if you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, right on the home page, we have general information about the class. And like I said, the Tuesday class is wrapping up. But when you go to our website, you scroll down, you see information for the radio show. Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to midnight, and Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can listen to audio podcasts on my shows here. That's me in a radio station. Because of COVID-19, they have us broadcasting from home. I've been in the radio station in a year. Read articles I've written here. This is our show from March 15th, 2021, the day after the Grammys. I dealt with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion performing WAP at the Grammys in negative corporate control hip hop. But we have information for the online course here. Okay. So you just click right here to register, and you can go ahead. This will enroll you in the Tuesday class is wrapping up. You can watch the content. We have the classes archived there, but I will automatically enroll you in the new Saturday class that will start up Saturday, April 17th, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. All right. So you'll get a bonus. Okay. All right. So check that out, and we'll see you in class. All right. I want to go to this last story here. We talked about this on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, April 9th. Okay. So CDC Director Rochelle Walensky put out a statement, and we'll bring up this article here from NPR.org, National Public Radio. And it's very important. And the American Medical Association put out a statement similar to this in 2020. Okay, we'll talk about this. So let's look at this here. So the new CDC director, Rochelle Walensky, said that she declared racism a serious public health threat, Racism is a scourge in American society. It's also a serious public health threat, according to the director of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. And the statement released Thursday, that was Thursday, April 8th, Dr. Rochelle Walensky pointed to the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on communities of color, as seen in case numbers, deaths, and social consequence. Case numbers, death, and social consequence. And let's try to blow this up a little bit more here. Just a second. Let's increase the size of this. And let me see if we can go to the statement here. We'll come back to, okay. All right. So it says, she said, yet the disparities seen over the past year were not a result of COVID-19. Dr. Rochelle Walensky said, instead, and can you all see this? You'll read this. Instead, the pandemic illuminated inequities that have existed for generations and revealed for all of America a known but often unaddressed epidemic impacting public health, racism. Now, she's getting backlash for telling the truth. First of all, she's getting backlash for telling the truth. I'm going to let you hear what dumbass Paris Denard had to say about this. Okay, because we talked about this on Roland Martin Unfiltered. And, I find it interesting when you have people who work for Donald Trump who are afraid to denounce white supremacy and racism and want to deflect and talk about China. Because that's exactly what Paris Denard did. Okay. I'm going to let you hear what Paris said on Fox News. Now, hopefully Paris will come to a black show, come to Roland Martin Unfiltered, and talk that BS on Roland Martin Unfiltered. See, he was talking to a white woman on Fox News saying that nonsense. Why don't you come to Roland Martin Unfiltered and say that? Okay. Because it's not going to turn out too well for you. All right. But let's see here. Just a second. Okay. But I want to go back to this, then we'll go to the clip. So she went on to say, what we know is this. Racism is a serious public health threat that indirectly affects the well-being of millions of Americans. Racism is a serious public health threat that directly affects the well-being of millions of Americans. As a result, it affects the health of our entire nation. As a result, it affects the health of our entire nation. Racism is not just the discrimination against one group based on the color the color of their skin or their race or ethnicity, but the structural barriers that impact racial and ethnic groups differently to influence where a person lives, where they work, where their children play, and where they worship and gather in community. These social determinants of health have lifelong negative effects on the mental and physical health of individuals in communities of color. These social determinants of health have lifelong negative effects on the mental and physical health of individuals in communities of color. Okay. Now, the result, Dr. Rochelle Walensky says, are stark health disparities that have mounted over generations. So what does it mean for the agency? What does it mean for the Center of Disease Control and Prevention? Dr. Rochelle Walensky, the new CDC director, has charged all of the offices and centers under the CDC to develop interventions and measurable health outcomes in the next year. Okay? To develop interventions and measurable health outcomes in the next year, addressing racism in their respective areas. And she's made clear that that is a priority for the entire CDC. Now, the CDC also launched a new web portal called Racism and Health that is designed to be a hub for public and scientific information and discourse on the subject. Now, this is important because, once again, Americans are very ignorant of history. Racism does not have anything to do with calling people racial epithets and calling people the N-word and things like this. Okay, even though if you know, calling people the N-word or something like that, if a police officer does that, that could cause you to have a heart attack. Okay, that's a public health issue right there. Okay, that's hazardous to your health. But in general, racism is not calling people racial epithets and things like this. Okay, racism is a system of advantage and privilege distributed based upon race, coming out of the ideology of European white supremacy. Okay, racism occurs when one race of people control the majority of the wealth, power, resources, benefits, privileges, land, access to education, access to opportunity, etc., and they use that to marginalize, subordinate, and do harm to another race of people. Okay, this is what racism is. Racism has nothing to do with calling people racial epithets, not liking people, etc. Okay, racism is a power structure. So, you know, the calling people racial epithets and racial slurs and things like that, that's bigotry. I'm not saying it's good, but I'm saying we have to be clear what racism is. Racism is a power structure. Okay, so let's go back to this here. I'm going to go back to this article from NPR. Then we're going to go to this clip from Roland Martin Unfiltered. Because I was on the show Friday, so I'm going to let you hear what happened when we discussed this topic. So the CDC also launched a new web portal called Racism and Health that is designed to be a hub for public and scientific information and discourse on the subject. Now, the site notes that racism in both its structural and interpersonal forms has a negative effect on mental and physical health. Okay, has a negative effect on mental and physical health. Dr. Walensky is not trying to avoid hard conversations. She said the word racism is intentional in this initiative for the CDC, she told Time magazine. She said, quote, this is not just about the color of your skin, but also about where you live, where you work, where your children play, where you pray, how you get to work, the jobs you have. All of these things feed into people's health and their opportunities for health. Okay. The CDC committed to continuing the study. The CDC committed to continuing to study how racism affects health and propose and implement solutions accordingly. It will expand its investment in minority and other disproportionately affected communities to create, quote, durable infrastructure, end quote, to address disparities. Okay. Dr. Walensky told Time magazine, it has to be baked into the cake. It's got to be part of what everybody is doing. All right. So check this out here from NPR.org, National Public Radio. CDC director declares racism a serious public health threat. All right. Now, Director Walensky did not talk about political parties. She did not make this a partisan issue. Okay. But Paris Denard did. And then he tried to distract and talk and want to go to China. Let's listen to what happened when he was on Fox News.
You can make this possible. It's always a case of people who just don't get it, who literally don't get it. Rob, here's this idiot Paris Denard, working for the Republican National Committee on Fox News, literally disagreeing with the CDC. Here we go.
When I heard this statement from the CDC director, I was appalled because instead of focusing on health disparities, which we should do because they're real and COVID highlighted those, the CDC is doing the bidding of the Biden administration by once again inserting racism, and calling people racist for no reason. That's the Democrat Biden-Harris administration playbook. And they're doing this because they want to have the American people think that this nation is inherently racist or systemically racist. But it's not. And I think that all Americans should stand up and ask the question, if these districts, if these communities of color who have been represented by Democrats for so many years are systemically racist, does that make the Democrats who are in control racist as well? I think the CDC should focus on the Communist Party of China. COVID-19 came over to this country and has infected the world, and they should be focused on that. That issue alone is why we have seen so many people die. Yes, disproportionately in the Black community, but it's not the fault of racism. It's the fault of China. Focus on that. Stand up to China and stop calling everybody, everything, and everywhere racist. It's wrong.
This is what happens when you are stuck on stupid, Rob. Paris Denard is an utter idiot for what he just said. And they love to prop up these folks who are just dumb. The CDC, they're calling everyone racist. No, what they're saying is the racism that Black people have to deal with on a daily basis has a direct impact on the health of Black people.
Yeah, he knows. He knows what they're saying. Like, only point I have of disagreement is I don't think he's dumb. This is a dumbass statement he's making, and he's doing it so he can get. Because look, you can have a Black man make the statement. It's profitable to do so. That's the game that's being played. That's the game he's playing. But he's so disingenuous. There's so much to take apart in what he said. So I could be on another hour because it's just so much garbage. But let me just get to the basics. He starts off by saying they should focus on health disparities. How the hell do you focus on health disparities without acknowledging the fact that the disparities are there because of racism? Racism is structural. So when he says, oh, well, are you saying Democrats are racist? The system is not individual. It is structural. It means it's built in over time. It's like a virus. Let me break it down for him. It mutates over time. And until you actually get it out and you isolate it, it will stay there. So yes, racism has been a part of America. It's not the only part of America. There are certainly good parts, but this is a part, if you want to improve America, you have to look at. I never get conservatives when you say like, oh, why are you so critical on America? Or you're saying all America is racist. What I'm saying is if you actually love a country, I love the country. I want it to be better. You love your kids. Are you going to tell your kids they're great when they're doing things wrong? No, we need to improve. I don't know why this is hard for him to put together. And the last part I want to get is he talks about not being racist and then says something racist. He says we need to blame it all on China. China is the reason why this happens. Knowing we have a rise in Asian hate right now, he adds that in. So he has to be the black man that throws in some racism at the end, just to do the bidding of the Republican Party, who wants to have this narrative that if you talk about racism, that's bad. I want people, I specifically want people on the right to get more offended by racism than they do about being called racist. Get mad about the racism. I can tell you, I'd rather be called a racist than go through racism. It is harder to go through racism than to be called a racist. These people are they talk about cancel culture and people giving them a hard time and people not being tough enough and being snowflakes. They're snowflakes. Every time you call them out on stuff, they get offended and say, "Oh, why'd you say that?" Like, hey, suck it up, buttercup.
Beyond nuts. Michael, real quick.
Well, we all know Paris Denard is a professional white behind kisser. That's his whole gang. That's what pays his bills. We understand that. But what I find interesting is that he doesn't want to address specifically what CDC Director Rochelle Walensky talked about. A growing body of research shows the centuries of racism in this country has had a profound and negative impact on communities of color. He doesn't want to deal with that research. And racism existed before the Republican Party was founded in 1854 and before the Democratic Party was founded in 1828. Racism existed in this country. It's a system of advantage and privilege distributed based upon races. And I'll wrap up with this. As Dr. Francis Cress Wilson and Nellie Fuller correctly taught us, if you do not understand European white supremacy and racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you think that you understand will totally confuse you. So what Paris Denard is trying to do on behalf of his people, on behalf of the white people who pay him, is trying to distract and confuse us. So we can't go for that okie doke. Look who he worked for in the White House.
All right, folks.
And Trump says systemic racism didn't exist.
Got it. All right, folks.
All right. So Paris is confused. Okay. Paris wanted to distract and then talk about China. He didn't want to deal with the laws and policies that brought about the structural inequities that are legacies of slavery. And the health disparities that CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky was talking about. And these are the same health disparities that Donald Trump did not want to address when he was president. Trump didn't want to address these health disparities. Trump did not believe that systemic racism existed. Not only that, he nominated a attorney general named William Barr, who says systemic racism and policing does not exist. So go read the article from National Public Radio. Okay. We'll pull it back up here. CDC director declares racism a public health threat. CDC director declares racism a public health threat. Now, this is similar to what the American Medical Association said back in November 19th, 2020. And then also when we look at the article from TheHill.com, and we'll pull this one up from The Hill, the AMA also put out a statement. Susan Bailey from the AMA, president of the AMA, put out a statement on Thursday, April 8th, echoing what Dr. Rochelle Walensky said also. But in just a second, I'm going to go to another segment of the panel discussion where we dealt with this also. And I went in and broke this down, and I dealt with a connection between what CDC Director Rochelle Walensky is saying and then also the $2 trillion plus infrastructure bill that Joe Biden just unveiled. Because that helps, that addresses, part of that addresses the racism coming from racism dealing with infrastructure and how the interstate highway system was used to destroy many of our businesses and disrupt our communities. Okay, let's see here. There was one from The Hill. Pull this one up here from The Hill. So, if we look at this one also here from TheHill.com, let's flip over and look at this one. CDC director says racism is a serious public health threat. This is from April 8th, 2021. I want to scroll down here. According to the American Public Health Association, more than 170 cities, counties, and public health agencies in the U.S. According to the American Public Health Association, more than 170 cities, counties, and public health agencies in the U.S. have made similar declarations, including the American Medical Association, which praised the CDC's move. AMA President, American Medical Association President Susan Bailey said in a statement on Thursday, April 8th, quote, as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to disproportionately plague Black and Brown communities, it's clear that collective action from all stakeholders, is needed to dismantle systemic racism and confront and advance equity across our health system. Okay. AMA President Susan Bailey said in a statement. All right. So read this full article also from the Hill.com. Okay. Now, in all of this, neither one of them mentioned political party. They didn't make this a partisan issue. Susan Bailey from the American Medical Association or Dr. Rochelle Walensky, they didn't make this a partisan issue. But Paris Denard want to make this partisan, and then he want to go to China. But Paris doesn't want to call out the Republican Party for white supremacy and racism, and call out the Republican Party for the voter suppression tactics and voter restriction tactics that they're engaging in right now. So then we talked about, we did another segment on this topic here. Let me see here. On Roland Martin Unfiltered, we're going to go to that one here. I think this was the first segment, actually. Let me pull this up. How's everybody doing? Stand by. Let me cue this up here. Okay, let's go to this clip.
CDC has now declared that racism is a new serious public health threat. The CDC is the largest federal agency to acknowledge the issue as a threat. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky said in a statement published on the agency's website, a growing body of research shows that centuries of racism in this country has had a profound and negative impact on communities of color. Confronting the impact of racism will not be easy. I know that we can do this if we work together. I certainly hope you will lean in and join me. The nation's leading public health agency established the web portal Racism and Health to serve as a hub for activities and promote a public discourse on how racism negatively affects health and communicates potential solutions. This is important, Johanna, to acknowledge, because when we look at health issues, when we look at the health of African Americans, the stress associated, all those things that go into this, the role that the racism plays. And again, for folks who are white in this country, who don't have to deal with microaggressions, who don't have to deal with what we do, this is greatly significant.
Yeah, and I agree. It is a crisis, and it is something that racism in particular that we should really address and go to the root cause and not just put a Band-Aid on it. Because I think what we have been doing for the past decade or so is we've been putting a Band-Aid on the issue of racism. But when it comes to inequalities and disparities in this country, the numbers don't look good for people of color. There was a Senate report released in 2019 about the state of Black America. And here are some daunting numbers, Roland. The median wealth of Black families is $17,000, which is less than 1/10 of that of white families, which is $171,000 US dollars. And then we all know the quickest way to gain wealth in America is through home ownership. Well, the data shows that much less than 42% of Black families own their homes compared to almost 3/4, which is 73% of white families. And also, one last point. The typical Black households earn a fraction of white households, just 59% on every dollar. The gap between Black and white annually household incomes is about $29,000 per year. Now, these systemic injustices, and when you look at the data, when people go on and they attain higher education, they receive professional degrees and so forth, but you don't see that much shift in terms of the inequalities between wealth from white people. So the data is there. Even when Black people take the appropriate steps, do the right thing, follow the law, you go to school, you are a law-abiding citizen, you go to church, right? You do all the things that society tells you to do. The inequality still exists, which is a serious public health crisis, because when you are faced with these challenges, guess what? It impacts your health. It impacts your ability to engage in day-to-day activities. And I know those Black women, we are so strong and we are so brave, but so many of us are dealing with these issues internally in the workplace, and it is impacting our health, and we bring it to the household, and it impacts the way we interact with our families and with our children, and so on. So I agree with the doctor. It is a serious public health crisis, and it should have been declared decades ago, not today.
Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I've seen a lot of these, and so I'm going to take a little bit of a different view. Like, water is wet. Yes, it's been a crisis. Now, because I've seen a lot of state legislators, they do these little resolutions to say, like, racism is a public crisis. Yes, it's been. My next step is always, then what? Like, what are we doing about it? What specifically are we going to do? How much money are we going to allocate to this? What's our steps? What's our plans and policies that change? Because it's been a healthcare, it's been a serious crisis for a really long time. So yes, I'm glad they acknowledged it, but I'm like, okay, now what? Because we have some issues that we need to get solved, and I'm glad they acknowledge it. But I'm now kind of over that. It's like people saying Black Lives Matter. Okay, slow clap. Now what? Like what are we going to do to change things? That's kind of my perspective on this.
And the reality, Michael, yeah, now you're the CDC. How are you now going to take this and integrate this into public policy?
Yes, policy has to follow behind this, Roland. Racism is a system of advantage and privilege distributed based upon race. Comes out of the ideology of European white supremacy. This is for the purpose of preserving genetic white survival. This is significant here that the CDC director is saying this, Dr. Walensky. And also, the American Medical Association said something very similar back in November of 2020 as well. And that is the American Medical Association. President Susan Bailey put out a statement on Thursday, April 8th, basically backing this up and also talking about the impact that the COVID-19 pandemic has had disproportionately on African-American and Hispanic communities. So policy has to follow this. And this is why, and all this also ties into, a lot of this also ties into the $2 trillion plus infrastructure bill that Joe Biden just unveiled. Because
and Joe Manchin pretty much tried to cancel. But go ahead.
Yeah, Joe Manchin tried to. Right. Well, Joe Manchin is in West.
I digress. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I took.
Yeah. You know, we know Joe Manchin's game, but there's a history behind racism and infrastructure and U.S. highways. Okay, the U.S. Interstate Highway Acts in 1952 and 1956 drove somewhere around 41,000 miles of interstate highway across the country, but they ran right through African American communities, wiping out a lot of our homes, wiping out a lot of our businesses, disrupting our communities. So that this right here, dealing with racism, is we see this in all aspects of society. So you have to have policy that addresses this to correct this. Okay, this is why this is so important. And lastly, this ties into the study from Citigroup Bank that came out September 2020 that dealt with how the U.S. economy has lost $16 trillion over the past 20 years, from the year 2000 to the year 2020. And it's because of policies dealing with racism. But one thing that's important that it says is that if you can correct these structural inequities, then over the next 5 years, the U.S. economy can grow by $5 trillion. So there's an incentive to create this. Something important that Citigroup study shows is that how racism negatively impacts everybody, including many white people who think they benefit from racism. It shows how it even negatively impacts you as well. So this is a good first step, but we have to have policy behind it.
All right. So that was from Friday, April 9th. 2021 on Roland Martin Unfiltered. On my Friday, April 9th show of the African History Network show, we dealt with Joe Biden's. So we talked about Biden's $2 trillion infrastructure plan. And then, we dealt with the history of how racism shaped interstate highways. And this is an article here from National Public Radio I'm showing you. We talked about this on Friday's show. Then I tied that into Biden's $2 trillion plus infrastructure plan. And his infrastructure plan addresses some of those structural inequities that have happened previously when it comes to the interstate highways. Okay. And let me see if we can pull this up here. We talked about this article here. So go back and listen to the Friday show, April 9th. What's in Biden's $2 trillion jobs and infrastructure plan? What's in Biden's $2 trillion jobs and infrastructure plan? Politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources. Politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, their adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. So all of this is connected together, okay? And when you look at the history here of interstate highways and things like this, and how they were used to destroy a lot of African American communities, we see racism there in these policies. Let's look at this. Okay, which one is it here? Okay, this is right here. What's in Biden's $2 trillion jobs and infrastructure plan? And you can read this one. The proposal, which includes a major focus on climate change, could lay the groundwork for the president's economic agenda. American Jobs Plan would be paid for in part by raising the corporate tax and global minimum tax. Okay, so they go through and break this down. The different parts: infrastructure at home, $650 billion; transportation infrastructure, $621 billion. They go through and break down the different categories. But then they talk about it's like $40 billion infrastructure fee, infrastructure, home. Okay, care economy. The plan expands access to home or community-based care for seniors with disabilities. There was $40 billion dealing with, okay, the White House says that 40% of the benefits of its climate and clean infrastructure investments. White House says 40% of the benefits of its climate and clean infrastructure investments would go to disadvantaged communities. So read this, because this bill would be very, very beneficial. So check this out. We talked about this Friday. All right. Then also, I showed you this article a couple minutes ago. This is from news1.com. Where is that one? This is from news1.com. This dealt with a study. This article came out January 25th, 2018. This dealt with a study that talked about young people and smoking. Young people are 80% more likely to smoke before turning 16. But it dealt with the link between racism and smoking. Folks know racism can kill, and a new study shows it turns blacks to smoking. This is by Clarissa Hamlin for news1.com. And it says black folks who light up cigarettes, African-American youth are 80% more likely to take up smoking before the age of 16, a new study revealed. African-American youth are 80% more likely to start smoking before the age of 16. Now, the startling statistic indicates what most in the African-American community already know is a true fact. Racism can kill you. Academic researchers at King's College London, King''s, academic researchers at King's College London just looked into a particular way that racial abuse can strike and harm folks with their findings. They interviewed 6,500 pupils between the ages of 11 to 13 across 51 London schools, collecting data which shows that those who experience more racism are more likely to have more toxic stress. Those who experience more racism are more likely to have more toxic stress. Thus, they turn to destructive coping mechanisms such as smoking. Now, as I talked about on the show Friday, there are approximately 600 ingredients in cigarettes. There's only a fraction of them that are listed on the packages, but there's approximately 600 ingredients in cigarettes. Quote, these findings highlight the role of racism as an important social determinant of health, said lead author Dr. Ursula Reed, part of the Determinants of Young Adult Social Well-Being and Health, DASH, D-A-S-H, Determinants of Young Adult Social Well-Being and Health. She said this in an interview with The Independent, the news outlet The Independent. And there's a tweet here, racism linked to uptake of smoking in young people. This tweet from January 25th, 2018. Now, the study, which presents some water is wet facts that are no secret among African Americans, does a solid job of telling the world that Black health matters. Researchers' findings show others that Black mental health is compromised. Is comprised. Researchers' findings show others that Black mental health is comprised by racism. Or I think they meant to say compromised by racism. And this problem should be addressed. Officials encourage family and friends of African American smokers to get involved and lead interventions to combat racism, with the data associating strong family ties with a smaller likelihood of smoking. With the data, officials encourage family and friends of African American smokers to get involved and lead interventions to combat racism, with the data associating strong family ties with a smaller likelihood of smoking. Public health groups are instrumental in the fight to end racism-related smoking, researchers said. Groups must weigh and consider the, quote, impact of these health-harming behaviors when making future policy. Now, religion was also considered by researchers, as the study found less than 20% of ethnic minority participants reported no religious affiliations. Hopefully, this study can start some constructive conversations where people can address racism and the biases that give it life. So check out this article here. This is from our archives. This is from January 25th, 2018. This deals with a link between racism and increased likelihood of smoking cigarettes in youth. Folks know racism can kill, and a new study shows it turns blacks to smoking. This is from news1.com. All right. Okay, hey, if you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show, through Cash App, $ the AHN Show, through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. It helps us to keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting. We're here 6 nights a week. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. Then Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time also. So we're here 6 nights a week. Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. Turn on live notifications so you know when we go live. Also follow me on YouTube, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep on YouTube. Turn on live notifications there, so you know when we go live as well. And then we have the new online class, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We have the new class starting up Saturday, April 17th. Saturday, April 17th, 2021, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a 9-week, 18-hour online course. I'm wrapping up the Tuesday class now. I just posted the link here. You can go ahead and register for the Saturday class. This is the link I just posted for the Tuesday class. So when you register, it'll put you into the Tuesday class. You can join us Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll go ahead and put you into the new Saturday class starting up. You'll be able to watch the previous sessions also, because all the sessions are recorded. You'll be able to go back and watch the previous sessions also when you register. Okay, so the class is working $130. It's on sale $80. We do it thousands of years of history. It's very visual. I do PowerPoint presentation. We have book articles. We have book references, articles, video clips, everything. All right, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. Thanks for tuning in. Digital Dandelion's Technical Solutions works with businesses like yours to create an operations manual for your business, which is something many businesses don't have. According to AARP, more than 30% of small business owners are over 50 years old. Many business owners want to retire by selling their businesses or by passing their businesses on to their children. However, according to Forbes Investment Advisors, many retiring owners' attempts to sell their businesses for retirement fail. You cannot sell your business without a business manual. Your children also cannot inherit your business because there is no way to run it. Your business does not have to die when you leave. Their business Bible products will give you the tools you need for a thriving business that can make you money even after you retire. Are you looking at increasing your business's annual revenue? Digital Dandelions can help you make at least $100,000 in annual revenue and expand your business. Speak with them today about solidifying your business. Visit digitaldandelions.com today and get a free 30-minute consultation. For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid Al Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com.
Gain knowledge in minutes from insightful summaries of progressive and socially conscious books. Blacklisted gives you access to curated content that'll satisfy your curiosity to learn and understand different perspectives. Empower yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. It's easy to read or listen to on the go. Blacklisted. Empower yourself. Start your free trial today.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know